the last 3 months, because of COVID-19, schools have been shut. I hope that these materials that we present today will be beneficial to students in their final year of secondary or high school.
Welcome to today's biology class, and today we are going to continue from where we stopped during our last class. The first time we met, we looked at evolution, and today we are continuing with the same topic. Under today's topic, we are going to look at Charles Darwin's contribution as regards evolution. And under today's lesson, we are going to be looking at two things: Charles Darwin's theory of evolution and then modern theory of evolution. So these are the two things that we are going to be looking at as we learn about evolution today. Charles Darwin is a British naturalist, that is somebody that studies natural things. In the year 1859, he made his contribution on the evolution of living things or organism, and this theory of his is known as the theory of natural selection. Firstly, we are going to look at what natural selection is. Simply put, natural selection is the differential survival characteristics or attributes or traits or features that an organism has phenotypically or externally on itself and in the environment in which it lives. These are the attributes that help the organism to survive successfully in its environment. Now we go into Charles Darwin's contributions. Firstly, there are 4 main things that Charles Darwin looked at, or that are the key things in his contributions. The first one is that no individual of the same species are identical. In other words, individuals that are born to the same parents would not survive in the same manner or do things alike. That is what the first point is telling us. The second point is that these organisms are giving birth into the environment by their parents in large number, and only few of this large number survive. What it means here is that competition is going to make some of them die in the process. That is, competing for food, competing for space, competing for shelter, competing for mates. These things or resources in the environment that are not sufficient make them to struggle, and the better fit will now scale through or survive, while the ones that could not survive through die in the process. The third point Charles Darwin looked at is that the ones that have been able to survive all through will now pass these traits or attributes or qualities or characteristics that they have evolved with over time to their offspring or next generation. So this is the third point that Charles Darwin looked at. And finally, that when these traits are passed on to the next generation, then it is now inheritable. That is the fourth point. That these points that have been, these traits that have been passed on would now be inherited by the next generation. And so it continues, giving rise to new organisms, entirely new in their function, structure, and everything they do. The next thing is, modern scientists believed or upheld the theory that was propounded by Charles Darwin. But one thing is striking to both Charles Darwin's theory and that of Jean Lamarck. They consider the environment. In other words, environment plays an important role in the survival of an organism. And today, the theory of Charles Darwin is upheld and adopted by many scientists. Now we are going to look at the modern theory of evolution. Modern theory of evolution combined the two, that is Jean Lamarck's theory and that of Charles Darwin, and also added the gene in its word consideration. These are the list of the modern theory of evolution. That one, there exist variations in a species population. No matter how living organisms are of the same type, there exist differences amongst them. And these differences make them to what? Continue to survive or die off in the process. Secondly, that these variations that, or these differences that have been seen or noticed on these individual organisms have what? Survival advantages. Thirdly, that individuals with favorable variations or differences are more adapted into the environment compared to individuals that have less of such attributes or variations. Thirdly, that the individuals that have been given birth into the environment have to struggle for them to continue to survive in the environment in which they live. And in the process of this struggle or competition, only the fit or the fittest of them all now survive all through and contribute more of these traits or attributes to the next generation of their kind, while those that are unfit die off in the process. Then finally, that the main cause of variation or differences in all these living things that we have, whether plant or animal, is mutation and recombination of genes. So these are the things that have been propounded to be the modern theory of evolution. With this, we've come to the end of today's class. Till we meet during our next class. Goodbye and God bless you.